Okay, everybody ready? I'm going to call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Directors of Joshua Basin Water District for Wednesday, May 3rd, 2017. Please rise and join Al in the Pledge of Allegiance.
You join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, item number 3, Mr. Sauer, determination of quorum.
All 4 directors are here. You have a quorum.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I move that we approve the agenda.
Do I have a second?
Second that?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, it carries, and the agenda is approved. Item number 5, public comment. Members of the public may address the board at this time with regard to matters within the board's jurisdiction that are not listed on the agenda. State law prohibits the board of directors from discussing or taking action on items not included on the agenda. Members of the public will have the opportunity for public comment on any item listed on the agenda when it is addressed on the agenda. Please limit comments to 3 minutes or less. Any public comment? Okay. Thank you. Item number 6, consent calendar. Items on the consent calendar are considered routine in nature and would be adopted in total by one action of the Board of Directors unless any board member or any individual or organization interested in one or more consent calendar items wishes to be heard. Any questions about the consent calendar? If not, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent calendar.
Second. If we have a motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. It's approved. Item number 7, resolution number 17-972, objecting to the sale of tax defaulted property. Mr. Sauer.
Okay, so the recommendation to the board is that you adopt the resolution that's in the packet, 17-972, objecting to the sale on the tax defaulted property, and authorize the board secretary to acquire the property and appropriate the funds. So in March, the district received information from the county notifying us that there was a treasure tax collector was going to conduct a public auction of tax defaulted properties. Public agencies enjoy priority to purchase tax defaulted properties for public use purposes prior to the public auction. Therefore, staff reviewed the list of properties proposed, and we located one property, which is a 7.5 acre property up by the G tank. It basically surrounds the G tank on 3 sides. That's up off on Desert Shadow Road. And the sales price is $20,150, and it will be used in the future for a water reservoir site. So, and it's been identified as a priority parcel in the Reservoir Property Acquisition Survey, which was done in 2009. There's a whole series of lands around all of the reservoirs that will need to be acquired at some time in the future for as the district is built out. So we have to prepare an objection for the county in the form of this resolution, specifying the description of the property and the public purpose intended. After the resolution is passed, it's sent to the county. The county will then send a packet to the board secretary with all the necessary paperwork for us to purchase the property. With the board's approval tonight, the board secretary will follow up with the administrative acquisition of the parcel. Funds are available, and staff recommends that the board approve the appropriation of those funds for the purpose of this land, for the purchase of this land. That's the end of my report.
All right, thank you. Any questions from the board? Seeing none, any questions from the public? Mr. Marquez.
Al Marquez, Sun Fair Community. First off, this parcel 59192 560000. Its property is designated as a single-family residential piece of property, and it's zoned for maximum of 14 units. Also, a use EX, I don't know what that is, HPC/MHM. I guess that's 14 units, 1 to 14 units, or church. Although the district already has some property on the side of the hillside, I think it's G1 or the reservoir up there, H1 or G1, I forgot what it is. I'm really kind of concerned why the district would want to buy some more property, even though the property might be very inexpensive to purchase, because the land value going by the county property taxes is $110,900 as set by the county. So if you do buy it, if you buy it for $30,000, I guess it would be a good purchase. But I don't know if spending thousands of dollars for real estate property, when those thousands of dollars can be for pipe replacement that the district has been talking about for the last 20 years, and no replacement has been done yet. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Flowen?
Tom Flowen, ratepayer. The property itself, it's described as surrounding an existing property. That's a strategic piece of property. We cannot be trapped there if we make this purchase. It's forward-looking. We may not necessarily need it right away someday. Let's get it while the getting's good. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the board?
No, we've had a chance to look at this. The topography is challenging, to say the least. It's kind of amazing they'd say put a church there or units. It's
Probably just county zoning, which you know you can't pass.
yeah. And no, that's really my only comment. We've looked at it.
Anybody else?
I just wanted to say I'm familiar with the site. It's in the neighborhood I live in, and even though portions of the property are, steep mountainside next to the existing tank, there are some relatively level spots, and I think that, looking forward, planning ahead for potential future growth, that it's would be an excellent acquisition, especially at the price that we would be able to purchase it for.
And I think that the ratepayers should understand that when we find land for tanks, it has to be at a certain elevation,
Right.
because everything is fed downhill, and this is the perfect elevation, and it was on our master plan for that, so good job in finding it on the tax rolls, and, chances are very good that people will redeem it, because it's worth a great deal more money, as Al said, than what we are looking to pay for it, but it would be very nice if we could get it. So thank you. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution number 17-972, objecting to the sale of tax defaulted property.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Seeing none, passes unanimously. Item number 8, ratification of union memorandum of understanding. Mr. Sauer.
Okay, this is, the recommendation is that the board adopt a resolution 17-973, implementing the memorandum of understanding between the district and the Joshua Basin chapter of AFSCME Local 1902 for the period of September 3rd, 2016 to September 2nd, 2019, at a cost over 3 years of $371,000. The analysis is that the existing contract with the union expired September of 2016. That contract has continued to be in place while we negotiated. We began negotiating in April of 2016. Through a series of meetings with the union representatives and a series of meetings with the board in closed session, we were given authority to negotiate up to a 39% cost. This cost comes in at 32%. But there were three elements primary to the negotiation. The first one was our Aqua JPIA health insurance. They advised us, the JPIA advised the district in 2015 that the district was not in compliance with their health insurance program because their policy is we need to have no less than 75% employee enrollment. And the district's enrollment at that time was 40%. JPIA agreed to wait until union negotiations could be completed. And they also gave the district until January of 2018 to come into full compliance or be removed from their plan. So we were at risk of losing our insurance carrier for health insurance. Sarah and Susan did extensive research into alternative health coverage plans, finding only a few options for public agencies, Aqua JPIA, the Special District Risk Management Authority, and the CalPERS. If we'd gone with CalPERS, we would be required to provide insurance for retirees, which we have never done, and the cost would go on forever as people continued to retire. SDRMA would not accept the district because we have a cafeteria plan in place for insurance benefits. We're the only district out of the 10 comparator agencies of the 2015 report, compensation report, that still has a cafeteria plan. And one of the things that we wanted to get rid of is the cafeteria plan where you're just offering cash and people can go out and buy whatever insurance they need. None of the other agencies have the cafeteria plan. Comparator agencies require employees to participate in the existing health care plans. And as of 2015, the comparator agencies were offering on average $1,695 in health insurance to their employees, up to $1,695. We also looked at other private insurers where JBWD would have a standalone group policy, and they only provide age-based rates, meaning that younger employees pay less and older employees pay more, and it has to be constantly updated by birth date. So we decided that the best case forward was to negotiate with the union to stay with Aqua JPIA. Now, the health insurance compensation. A review of the 2015 total compensation study demonstrated that the district healthcare facilities were 78% below the average of the 10 comparator agencies. They were offering on average $1,695 versus the district's $950 per month at that time. The union proposed a $1,300 per month increase to the current $1,000 cafeteria plan amount, increasing the monthly amount to $2,300 with no mandatory participation in Aqua JPIA. That proposal would have been $1,300 more per month than the existing cafeteria plan and would not have solved the health care issue for the district. So instead, the district negotiated a two-tiered system. Tier 1 is for all union employees hired prior to January 1st of 2017. So it's a change in the cafeteria plan from $1,000 per month to a requirement to participate in the Aqua JPIA medical plan, and they would be paid up to a ceiling of $1,700 monthly. Any remaining balance over and above the premiums will be paid to the employees in cash. The ceiling increases each year by $50 per month. The Tier 2, which starts to move us away from the cafeteria plan, it's for employees that are hired after January 1st of 2017. There will be no cafeteria plan program for future union employees hired after January of 2017. They'll be required to participate in an Aqua JPI medical plan. They'll have no more than the ceiling for medical, dental, and vision benefits paid for by the district. So they would receive up to $1,700 per month. The balance may not be received in cash nor used for reimbursement of medical expenses or deductibles. Tier 2 employees may use these funds to purchase any insurance products offered by the district through Colonial, right? Specifically including but not limited to short and long-term disability insurance. And if an employee was to buy all of those things offered by Colonial, the cost would be $200 a month. So they have a ceiling of $1,700. The salaries. The 2015 compensation survey showed that our salaries are within plus or minus 5% of the other agencies studied in 2015. The union requested that all employees, so we're at the 50th percentile. The union requested that all employees be placed at the 75th percentile rather than the 50th percentile, effectively asking for a 25% increase in salary. The district negotiated maintaining salaries at current rates with minor adjustment of ranges to match the pay scale recommended in the compensation study. And other items that were negotiated included safety boot allowance, promotion policy for construction and maintenance 1 employees, updated uniform policy, a cap on salary ranges, which has never been in place before, deferred compensation for 57 plan changes, compensation in lieu of vacation changes, sick leave updates to meet current California paid sick leave law, a fatigue policy, longevity pay, and finally, we have a harassment, discrimination, and retaliation policy. The costs. The annual cost of this contract is 10.7% a year, or 32% over 3 years, with a prorated effective date of May 1st, 2017. Similar rates were negotiated for the contracts with the union in 2004 and 2008 at 35 and 39%. Costs to maintain health insurance for union employees and bring health benefits to a median industry standard based on the other comparable agencies will be approximately $278,000 or a yearly average of $93,000. For existing employees, the district will pay an average of $758 more per month than we are now. Healthcare costs represent 75% of the total cost of the negotiated contract. Cost of salaries, the salaries are basically the same. There's a 2.5% cost of living adjustment each year, which has been in place for the past 2 contracts, the past 6 years. The cost of living costs are $69,000 over 3 years, and the roll-up costs to the district for retirement, payroll taxes, and workers' compensation associated with the salary increases are an additional $13,000. It comes to $27,333 in costs per year. Salary costs are 22% of the total negotiated contract. And the cost for the other negotiated items totals, the cost over 3 years is $11,573. So in your packet, there is a colored chart that tries to line out all the different costs. And then there's the resolution. And the resolution basically adopts the memorandum of understanding as it has been negotiated, which you all have copies of. And Sarah and I, not Susan and I, are here to answer any questions.
Okay, are there any questions from the board?
Under costs, it says a prorated effective date of 5/1/17. Our resolution still says 2016, so
But there's no retroactivity in the costs.
just, okay, only
But
to the first of this
policies-
month.
The policies are, good.
And it still ends in 2019.
Correct.
Okay, anything else, Bob? Gary?
No.
Any questions from the public? Mr. Marquez?
Marquez, up there. I have no problems with cost of living increases on salaries and benefits. But what the community is concerned with is that at least 27% of the community is on a fixed income. And with these rate increases that the district has came up with. It's pretty hard for them to pay these basic fees and also rate increases every year that has been transpired in the last 7 years, except for 1 year or 2 years max. I think the community should be asking the board, and I have no fault with the staff, because staff is doing whatever they think is right, and they bring it to the board, and the board is the ones that have the, in charge of the money strings. So they're the ones that set up the budget for everything that goes on in this district. The community would like to find out if the district board would do some cost cutting in some other areas to make up for these extra income for the staff and benefits. Because like the Proposition 218, the increases of rates have gone up quite a bit in the last 4 years, and it's going to be up until 2017 or 2018. And the 2018 proposition is supposed to be for the infrastructure and not for any wages and stuff like that. So I hope the district is not using any of that money for incoming, for the salaries and benefits for the employees. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Marquez. Anyone else? Thank you. Any comments on the board? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
I move we adopt Resolution 17973, implementing the memorandum of understanding between the district and the Joshua Basin chapter of AFSCME Local 1902 for the period of September 3, 2016 to September 2, 2019, at a cost over 3 years of $371,272.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Seeing none, it passes unanimously. And we have the board, it looks like we did this really fast, but we have spent a lot of time going through this with the general manager and with Sarah, and so we have gone through this with a fine-tooth comb. And of course, if we want to retain employees and hire new employees, we've got several people who will be retiring. We have to be competitive, otherwise we will be in a world of hurt when it comes time to replace these people who are going to be gone within the next 5 years for sure. Anyway,
And I'll just make a comment on the health care benefits, which was the major piece of the negotiation here, which was a huge chunk out of the budget. This is supposed to plateau on a projection within the next decade or so, or 5 to 10. So that's the projection. So Al, I'm attuned to what's going on, but this is the only way that we could salvage this at this junction, to try to project a flatter rate down the road.
And could I add a comment?
yes, you can.
Well, first, I want to compliment staff on your excellent work. I think you did a great job in negotiations and council, and I think it's a very fair agreement. And I agree with Mickey that if we want to recruit and retain talented staff, which there's a cost. There's cost benefits to that. If we have excellent people, they're going to do excellent work, and they're going to be productive. They're going to show up, and ultimately that will benefit the district. I think it was very prudent to do a compensation study and compare compensation in this district with 10 other local agencies, and the salaries were pretty much at parity. So salaries basically stayed flat. We negotiated that, and then staff negotiated that. And also to benefits, I think raising the benefits to be at parity with other agencies was a good idea in terms of hiring and recruiting people, but also having it switch over for new employees to be a defined for defined benefits, so that if they're entitled to up to that amount if they need it in order to purchase health care and other insurance that's available through the district. But the new employees will no longer get a lump sum of money that then they can choose to bank most of that money and potentially buy a very poor health insurance that may cause them to not go to the doctor when they need to go for preventative health care and other things, which can affect their productivity on the job. So I think that's kind of a hidden benefit as well. So, all things considered, I think it's an excellent agreement, and again, I compliment staff on the work you did.
Yeah, and a great job of making us be compliant with Aqua JPIA, because trying to find insurance that is targeted for water districts is not easy, and that it would have been really, really detrimental to us to be out in the open market. So good job.
Right, I meant to mention that too. To me, being able to stay in Aqua JPIA's insurance program was a real benefit to the employees and the district.
To the district, yeah.
And now employees have to participate in the plan. So we keep a good insurance plan that is a competitively priced plan and provides good benefits for the employees.
Okay. I'll be attending the Aqua JPIA meeting next Monday and Tuesday. So,
Thank them for us.
yes, I will bring you any updates. Okay, item number 9, compensation for the management supervisory and confidential MSC employees of the district. Mr. Sauer.
Okay, again, it's the recommendation that in adherence with Article 7, Section A of the Personnel Policy and Resolution Number 333-90 of the district, that the Board of Directors adopt the revised compensation plan for the management, supervisory, and confidential employees by adopting Resolution 17974 at a cost over 3 years of $279,000. It's the policy of the Board of Directors to authorize changes to the MSC employees' salaries, health insurance, and other benefits that have been granted to the union employees. Because of the approved memorandum of understanding with the union and the changes in our health insurance coverage, we, Sarah, has negotiated an open enrollment with Aqua JPIA for health insurance. Open enrollment was months ago.
Yeah.
JPIA is willing to open up a special enrollment period for this district. However, they will only allow one special open enrollment for all district employees, and so we need to address the MSC employee benefits as concurrently so that we can move forward in a 2-week open enrollment window. So everything that's in the proposal, in the resolution, is exactly the same as what the union folks are getting, with one exception, and that's in health insurance. And it's called the legacy option. This option was offered to the union, and they did not accept it. There are 2 MSC employees that have indicated that they may prefer this option. They've not decided yet, potentially saving the district $1,400 per month in health insurance. Such an option, if chosen, would still allow the district to meet the Aqua JPIA 75% enrollment requirement. So it's basically, beginning the first full month after approval, these employees would keep the plan that they have at $1,000 a month. Some of them do not wish to have Aqua JPIA become their primary provider because they already have adequate insurance through their spouses. So that's basically carrying the existing program forward, and everything else would still be the same. They have to enroll in dental and vision and all that other stuff. And if they, an eligible MSC employee has a loss in medical coverage and needs to come into the district-sponsored medical plan, they would have to come in the Tier 2 provisions. So for Tier 1, that's all MSC employees not opting for the legacy option and hired prior to January 1st, beginning the first full month after approval by the board. They'll be required to be enrolled in a health insurance plan. The district shall pay 100% of the premiums for employees only, dental, vision, and medical coverage up to $1,700. And employees will be able to use the remaining balance for dependents, and they have to prove the dependent eligibility. And any unused portion of the 1,700 monthly contribution cap that is not used for required enrollment will be paid to the employee just as it is with the union members. For Tier 2, which is MSC employees hired after January 1st of this year, there'd be no cafeteria plan, and it's basically the same, up to $1,700 in health insurance coverage. And it would increase by $50 per month each year, same as with the union. Salaries, these are the same guidelines negotiated with the union employees. With approval from the board, the district will adopt Appendix 4 to the COF report, which is a salary table. This way, all employees will be in the same salary table, which is now a requirement of PERS, is that correct?
Yeah, PERS wants to see everything in one place.
So the district's board approves this, and after making the range adjustment described above, that's the 2.5% for 2016. All classifications subject to this MOU shall receive a cost of living increase of 2.5%, effective the first full pay period starting in January 18, same as the union, it's 2.5%, and the same in 19. And the same other items are being recommended to the board that were negotiated with the union. The updated policies, the safety boot allowance, which will cover 2 MSC employees, updated uniform policy, a cap on salary ranges. Let me digress for a minute. This might seem a little subtle, but to me, it's one of the most satisfying. Every year, up until now, if you were at top step, you could get it, and you were above average in your evaluation, you could get a 2.5% or 5% increase to your salary. So the salaries, the top range, continued to move up. Now, the top range will stay where it is and only be affected by the cost of living increase. So deferred compensation 457 plan, same vacation in lieu of vacation, compensation in lieu of vacation changes. Basically, we are now requiring that you can be compensated for leave not taken, vacation pay not taken, but you have to have at least 40 hours on the books. Sick leave updates, fatigue policy, longevity pay, and the discrimination and retaliation policy. So the cost of these changes are 8.4% a year, or 25% over 3 years. Costs to maintain health insurance for the MSC employees will result in $171,000, or a yearly average of $57,000. And healthcare changes represent 61% of the total cost of the MSC changes. Salaries remain basically the same. We put everybody into this Appendix 4. The COLA costs are $82,000 over 3 years. And the cost of $98,000 over 3 years with everything comes out to about $32,000 a year. Salary costs represent 35% of the total cost of the MSC changes, and the other costs come to a total of $9,537. And the other costs represent 4% of the total cost. So there's the breakout by item, the resolution, and then Exhibit A. And the reason Exhibit A is in here is because when you approve this, if you approve this, the personnel policy, which affects only the non-union employees now because of the MOU, has to be, the wording has to be changed. And so Sarah has basically written what these articles will now look like in the personnel policy, which is only 26 years old. And that will be her next task, will be to update the personnel policy. So that's the
One
end
thing
of
at
it.
a time.
Almost as old as my child. She just turned 27.
So that's the end of the report, and we are here to answer any questions you may have.
All right, start with the board. Any questions, Rebecca?
Like the union negotiations, a lot of time was spent on this, and certainly wanted to make sure it was fair to everybody, ratepayers as well as our employees. And I hope we've done that. I hope that, we can keep our employees, our good employees. I mean, union jobs are a blessing. If you've got one, that's a blessing. And hopefully we can treat our non-union employees just as well. We value them certainly all very much. And I just found a small typo in the red lettering on Exhibit A, and it was just where it says, any full-time employees that works fewer, it should be just work. But gosh, good job, and Sarah, thank you so much for all your works on this. You too, Kurt, and you too, Gil, I'm sure you're involved in there somewhere.
No, not much.
Oh,
Not much.
well.
Wonderful. Bob?
In Exhibit A, when it makes reference in Tier 2 to the insurance policy or healthcare plans, it doesn't specifically spell out JPIA, but it sort of alludes to that. So is that something that needs to be included, or?
You see below where it says tier and 1 additional provisions,
Right?
and then that speaks to the Aqua JPIA,
Okay,
and that's for both.
okay,
The very last paragraph.
right. Okay. No, thank you.
Okay. Gary?
I just wanted to comment on what the general manager said about a cap on the salary ranges. I've never worked for an employer where there was not a fixed top step, and I think that that's very prudent that the district has gone to that. And that will save money over time, and it's pretty much standard practice in industry. So it was a good catch, and I'm glad you were able to negotiate that in the union agreement, and I think it's reasonable to for non-union employees to have the same thing. Also, in terms of cost, I think I share Mr. Marquez's concern about the community and a number of people being on fixed income and lower income, and it can be a challenge for someone to pay their water bill. It usually doesn't add up to a whole lot, and I know we spend probably even more on our cell phones or our cable, but it's something that people can't do without, and when that monthly bill comes, it's significant to them. And I do believe that myself and all the other members of the board are keenly aware of that, and we're working with staff all the time to try to find ways to find more money and save money. And however, I do feel pretty strongly that it's important that we have good and fair compensation packages, and I think that in both cases for union and for supervisory management and confidential employees that we've found the right balance. Also, when you do look at the cost compared to any capital improvement we would do, it's not nearly as much, and I think human capital is the most valuable thing that we have.
Thank you. Any comments from the public? Seeing none, I am very pleased with this because we have, since I've been on this board, which has been, 9 years, we have always given the MSC employees the same thing we gave the union, so I'm quite pleased with this. Do I have a motion?
I move that we, in adherence with Article 7, Section A of the Personnel Policy Resolution Number 33390 of the Joshua Basin Water District, that the Board of Directors adopt the revised compensation plan for the management, supervisory, and confidential employees by adopting Resolution Number 17974 at a cost over 3 years of $279,000.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, I'll take a roll call on this one. Gary?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Aye.
Rebecca? And I'm an aye. All right, 4-0. Thank you very much. That is done. And it's done for 3 years, right?
Well,
2.5.
we're a little late, so 2.5.
2.5, okay.
So about 2 years from now, we start again.
Yeah, I know that. Good job, really, you've done a good job. It's wonderful to have you on board, who actually understands this stuff, so, very cool. All right, item number 10, consider termination of Joshua Basin High Desert Financing Authority, Mr. Sauer.
The recommendation is that you approve resolution 17, is that a correct number? 17975, not 0975. Terminating the Joshua Basin High Desert Financing Authority. Basically, the analysis is, this is a 25-year-old funding instrument that hasn't been used for years and it was never terminated. In 1991, Joshua Basin and High Desert formed the Joshua Basin High Desert Financing Authority as a tool to assist with financing. We funded $5.9 million in debt. That was later refinanced and it's since been paid off. We haven't used this authority for many years, and in fact, it's been so long that the annual reporting to the state somewhere in the past stopped being performed. I can say at both High Desert and Joshua Basin, because when we contacted them, they said, is that still on the books? So the need for the authority no longer exists. There's more cost-effective opportunities for borrowing money. Both High Desert and Joshua Basin will need to adopt the resolution. High Desert already has. And the resolutions give authority for the general manager to take any actions required to terminate the authority. Once completed, copies of all those documents will be forwarded to the State Controller's Office as well as the Secretary of State, and they will stop asking for reports. End of report.
Thank you very much. Any questions from the board? Seeing none, any questions from the public? Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we adopt resolution 17-975, consider termination of Joshua Basin High Desert Finance Authority. Recommend that the board approve the termination of the Joshua Basin High Desert Financing.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? This is not carried unanimously. This is all about money tonight. You should be thrilled.
I am excited.
As you know, finance meetings are really hot meetings. Okay, second quarter ending 12/31/16 financial report. Mr. Sauer.
So the Financial Committee has reviewed the second quarter financial report and recommends that the board receive for information only. Susan Greer is not here tonight to present in detail, and my recommendation is if the board would consider that the Finance Committee has already reviewed this and accept their recommendation to bring it to the board for approval, for information only. Otherwise, we can put it on the agenda for May 18th. Yeah.
I would just like to say that we've spent an inordinate amount of time with this. It's pretty standard. Everything seemed to be on track, and there was nothing of any great significance to report to the board.
I agree with that. So,
Me too.
hearing that, we'll accept and approve. Do I need to have a motion and go through with that? Gil?
That is, what Robert articulated is just fine.
Okay. Okay. So we're good. I don't have to do
Yes,
any more.
yes, Madam Chairman.
Okay, standing committee reports. Citizens Advisory Committee. Anyone here from that wants to report? Seeing none, their next meeting is May 9th at 6 PM. Finance Committee, next meeting is scheduled for May 22nd at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. Certain members of that committee were a bit late, had it on their calendars the wrong time. Water Resources and Operations will follow Finance. That's a really great meeting, that will be at 10. Legislative and Public Information Committee, that is Director Unger and myself. We met this morning. The next meeting is scheduled for June 7th at 9:30 a.m. with Kathleen, and Kathleen was going to give her report.
Yes, I am. Okay, just a quick reminder, April was pretty busy and now it's May and it's just as busy. May 17th, a reminder that from 4 to 6:30 p.m. we will be having here out on the campus and in this room the celebration of life for Victoria Fuller. If anyone was inclined to want to put a donation towards this, we do not take it here at the Water District, but Mojave Desert Land Trust is the recipient of any funds that anyone may wish to transfer over to help support this event. The district tours, we had our third tour out of 3, we got rave reviews, and we have now officially wrapped up our second tour season. So keep your fingers crossed we get more grant money and we'll have a third one. May 9th, 6 p.m. we'll be holding the important Citizens Advisory Committee meeting. I do have flyers here, and it is open to the public to participate because we will be doing some exploratory discussions on the problems we're facing and what would happen if we don't address them. What are the repercussions? So tell your friends, tell your neighbors, come and join the dialogue. And that again is May 9th, so it's coming up, it's right around the corner. 3 of our 4 spring sessions on wildcrafting will be held this month, May 12th, 16th, and the 26th. I happen to have that flyer right here too, and I'll be putting those out. It's open to the public, but seating is limited, and the classroom sessions will not be here. They'll be at the Joshua Tree Community Center. The field walkabout is here in Joshua Tree. And again, I have all that information if you know anyone that's interested. The Joshua Tree National Park is hosting a new program to help eliminate invasive plants in the park. I guess they have a lot of weeds like the rest of us right now. And I have that flyer right here too. I have lots of information. But anyway, they are having an open house meeting to kick off this program, and that will be Thursday, May 11th, next week, from 5:30 to 7 p.m. Farmers Market, new theme this month, and it traditionally is and will be talking about water conservation using live desert tortoise. It's a huge hit. We draw a lot of people to our booth, and it allows us to open up dialogue on many other topics. So stop on by, but we do have a little girl tortoise. She's a junior, and she doesn't have a name, so we'll be playing Name the Tortoise, too. May 25th, the Water Education Festival, which is sponsored by the 3 water districts, ourselves, High Desert Water, and Bighorn. It's actually through a grant with Mojave Water Agency for Education. We go and we run about 500 junior high kids through a day of education, kind of a condensed version of Water Education Day, and we have various topics specific. Ours, again, is conservation, and I use the tortoise, so I kind of work the two together. But it's a long day. And lastly, our next Public Information Committee meeting will be June 7th at 9:30 a.m. somewhere. Maybe here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. District Council report. Mr. Greenberg.
Madam Chairman, a couple of items that come to my attention that I'll share with the board and the audience. One of them involves the legislature, and the bill I'm going to be talking about is SB 448. It's by Senator Wajkowski up in Northern California, and it aggressively targets special districts operations. It's being opposed by LAFCO and CSDA. What it does is that, it increases the financial reporting to the county controller. So there's an intervention by the county controller. A lot of it is duplication. It streamlines the dissolution of special districts in LAFCO proceedings. To be fair, it does intentionally want to target those districts that have been have been lagging in their reporting requirements in the past, and for the most part are hard to justify their continuing existence. Nevertheless, there's enough in this lack of due process that really has LAFCO as well as the CSDA's concerns, and they're opposing it as presently drafted. Got it, I'll share this with Susan. Someone should track, you should track SB 448. And if the time comes where CSDA wants some support in its resistance of this bill, we should be poised to tender that support. And I just want to caution you about that. What's interesting about that bill, well, it's very aggressive. I've never seen a bill so aggressive. And it reminds me of that old adage. It came to me driving up here today. When the legislature is in action, is in motion, in process, no man's property, and no one's life is safe. Something like that. Remember that old adage? There it is. When the legislature is in process, no man's property, liberty, or property is safe. Anyway, it just reminded me of that. There's another thing, that this coincides with another pursuit of maybe reforming special districts, and that's the Little Hoover Commission.
I was going to ask you.
Yes, you're on this, Director Unger. They had a meeting about 2 weeks ago, and they talked about possible reformation. They started the study last August, and it's getting to the point where they might be ready to write a report, but not until they have their June meeting, all hands meeting, open meeting where they'll probably, I think SB 448 is going to have a role in whatever the Little Hoover Commission comes out with. So you got to watch both. You got to keep your eye on all of them, make sure they don't go overstep what you think is right for the greater special district community. What else? Oh, chromium-6 litigation. Before I came up here tonight, I checked the court docket in Sacramento, Superior Court in Sacramento. No action since there was some real aggressive briefing in March as required by the judge, the trial judge. Nothing's happened since then. That tells me he's really studying the arguments again. As you know, he's revisiting the issue. He withdrew his initial tentative decision last fall. He asked for more briefing. He got it in March, and just a lot of briefing in March by all parties. And he's obviously given it a lot of thought. I expect he'll come out with a tentative decision probably very soon, any day. Within 30 days, 60 days, I'll bet you he comes out with a decision. It'll be interesting to see what that tentative decision is. What else has come up lately? One thing that came up tonight that got my attention, somebody mentioned, the JPA, the dissolution of JPAs. Really interesting about JPAs. They didn't used to be subject to LAFCO's review or authority. They never did municipal service reviews for JPAs, but a couple of years ago there was some legislation that now brings them into the purview of the authority and jurisdiction of LAFCOs. So it's just as well you get rid of a JPA that doesn't have any viability right now. But there are probably other large JPAs in this high desert community that I'm not aware of, but they now are subject to municipal service reviews. That's all I thought I was thinking if I could share with you tonight.
Thank you.
Do you know where SB 448 is in the legislative process right now?
Yeah, it was introduced in February. It went through the very first review in April. He amended it 2 days ago. To take in something, remember I told you about that meeting that took place 2 weeks ago? It was amended slightly because of the commentary they presented at that meeting. It's far from being in its final draft. It's still in the Senate, and it's still being modified. But I do predict it'll have a very strong role in whatever the Little Hoover Commission does. I'm sure they're communicating together.
Thank you.
Is there anything further with, is it AB 104?
Is that the disadvantaged income community? No, it's been strangely quiet. The deadline is next January,
Right.
and nothing's come across my desk. So they've already finished with their regional reviews, input statewide, gathered all the data, and they're coming out with a report, but I haven't seen it, and I don't even think it's close to coming out now. I was a little excited about a month ago. I thought maybe they're getting close to coming out with a draft report at least. Haven't seen it. So my optimism didn't pan out on that one. It's still slowly developing.
Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, General Manager's report.
So as you are all aware, the state has rescinded the emergency provisions for the drought and the stress test requirements and the remaining mandatory conservation standards for urban water suppliers, but the current prohibitions against wasteful water use practices and requirements for monthly water use reporting remain in place. So, our emergency conservation ordinance 15-9, which superseded 14-something, still has all the water conservation prohibitions, or water waste prohibitions, and encourages water conservation. I noticed in the paper, I think it was where I read it, that 29 Palms took some action to rescind or change their ordinance. And my recommendation to you all is we wait patiently for about 3 or 4 months and find out what the state of California is going to do for their conservation as a way of life in California before we amend that or supersede that ordinance. The conservation numbers for April are 23.78% compared to April of 2013. And the district's cumulative water savings is 18.69% since June of last year. So the voluntary conservation is still operational, and as you've grown accustomed to me pointing out, that's also affecting our revenues. So, well 14 rehab is on schedule, and good progress is being made to bring this well back online by June 6th. Chrome 6 update, we continue to work with Bureau of Reclamation and DUDEC. We've done enough stannous chloride pilot testing to start to get excited. We have now tried just preliminarily using a media filtration, the same that the City of Coachella and the Coachella Valley Water Districts are pursuing. It appears to be filtering out all of the Chrome 3. The Chrome 6 is converted to Chrome 3.
Excellent.
But in May, we're going to do some further tests and challenge those findings. And if that's the case, then we're looking at, instead of 15 million for construction, or potentially 7 million, and some greatly reduced annual operating and maintenance expense. So it's too early to get excited if you're a scientist, but not if you're a general manager or board of directors. So
What if you're a scientist and a board of directors?
Yeah, there's that dilemma, isn't it? Recharge, as of May 3rd, we've recharged about 500 of the 584 acre feet, and pond 3A and B are still the only pond that's being used, and it's percolating at about 8 acre feet a day for the past 4 or 5 days, and now it's back up to 9 acre feet a day. And that's has to do with Mojave Water Agency's supply of state water project was shut down for a day or two, which allowed our ponds to dry out a little bit, so we had to re-wet them, the top of them. So anyway, we intend to be done in 3 weeks with that. And also, I noticed in the paper that High Desert was working with San Bernardino County Fire to do a prescribed burn on their weeds in their recharge ponds. It occurred on Friday, April 28th, and it'll be clearing out overgrown brush, or cleared out overgrown brush of the recharge ponds through a controlled burn exercise conducted by San Bernardino County Fire Department. So we spend about $2,500 a year or every other year to scarify those ponds and get rid of the weeds. This may have saved them some money. Something that we could look at. However, I have over 30 years of wildland fire experience in the National Park Service, and I can tell you that sometimes prescribed fires don't always work the way they're supposed to. So I would be reluctant to try and save the $2,500, but we can look into it, and, San Bernardino Fire is fine, and if it's inside the ponds, great, but I know a couple of my friends that had their careers altered when prescribed fires didn't go as planned, so.
Ouch.
Fire is not.
I have some
fire-
goats that
I was
I
gonna
might be
say
able
goats. Goats might be the absolute answer.
Yes.
Good for the goat and good for the
And then I just echo what Kathleen said, Victoria's Celebration of Life is on May 17th, from 4 to 6:30.
Thank you very much. Okay, future meetings. Mojave Water Agency Board of Directors meeting is coming up tomorrow at 3 o'clock. I'm going to go. And said this morning at the Public Information Committee meeting. People may wonder why we go, because it doesn't really matter what's on the agenda. We go really to show the flag and to be there. I think every member of this board knows every member of their board, and they're one of our biggest supporters. So it's very, very important, especially since if Jim is ever to retire, you're likely to get a director who lives up in Apple Valley. So having that tight connection is something that we really value and work on that hard. So Aqua is next week.
Madam President, if I could interrupt.
Yes.
You mentioned Mojave Water Agency and the partnership and whatnot. Sarah just got back from a tour today.
Oh, all right.
And she had
All right.
an interesting comment in the, right next to the coffee pot when she got back.
What I found so interesting is that they were talking about us extensively and showing Joshua Basin Water District and how it works together with Mojave Water Agency, and in a very positive light. What you guys are doing by presenting and being at the board is definitely making a difference. So I really
Oh my
enjoyed it,
God.
very informative, and it appeared as though they really think very highly of us as well.
And we think very highly of them. They're amazing. They have helped us through many a trial, so it's very cool. Yeah, Aqua is next week, and General Manager Sauer and I will be the only ones attending from here, which is, we're down a few people. Usually we have the whole board go. ASB-CSD, Association of San Bernardino County Special Districts, their May dinner is going to be at Hawks Landing in Yucca Valley. It's sponsored by High Desert Water District. I hope every member of our board and our general manager can all make it, because it's really nice to support them, because they pretty much support us for the most part.
They're usually so far away.
Yeah, usually they're down in Ontario or someplace down there, but this is right around the corner, so if you're interested, see Bev. She'll make the reservations for all of us. And last, the Mojave Water Agency Technical Advisory Committee, or TAC, is June 1st. I am the representative for that, and I will be going to that. If anybody else wishes to go, that's fine. And we will go through the director reports. We'll start down with you, Rebecca.
I went to Mojave Water Agency last week. General Manager Kirby Brill wasn't present. He listened in by phone, and they, because he wasn't there, they pulled his workshop on the California Water Fix project. I was interested in that, but it was pulled. They voted unanimously a resolution supporting Aqua's policy statement opposing the State Water Resources Control Board's unimpaired flow approach for the Bay Delta watershed. Aqua came out earlier in the year, and they were strongly against this, and they say Aqua supports Governor Brown's negotiated agreements for functional flows approach as preferred by agricultural interests, certainly, and I think this is also, people have the backlash against the waters of the USA and the I don't know, the poster child of a pond on somebody's farm or something that they're calling its water. Director Richard Hall, Mojave Division 3, that area includes Phelan. He was nominated for a 3-year term on the California Special District Association Board. Vote for that takes place in early August. Duties include minimum 6 trips to Sacramento and 2 annual events. And I guess each of the directors on Mojave, they have a budget.
Yes.
that they have to pay for
Yes.
their events out of. So they were a little concerned that Richard wasn't going to go over his budget.
Yeah. They're allowed so much money to attend other meetings, and if they go over that, they can't do it.
Yeah.
Or they
yeah.
have to pay for it
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah, I didn't know that.
Good idea, huh?
And then they voted on a cleanup item, which was an agreement not to exceed $125,000 with Wagner and Bonsignor Consulting Civil Engineers for technical services that were already performed in 2016-17 fiscal year. It was ongoing work for groundwater sustainability plan, Ames Reggie management reporting, etc. They also unanimously approved a joint funding agreement with USGS for $23,000, and USGS kicking in a contingency of $2,300 for a new program to complete the geohydrology, geochemistry, and groundwater flow model for the Lucerne Valley groundwater basin. And the meeting was adjourned in memory of Victoria Fuller.
Oh, that's very nice. Thank you.
Welcome.
Director Johnson.
We were at the finance meeting, I believe it was this week, and it was an exciting, stimulating meeting. I'd like to encourage those that are concerned about our finances to please attend. And just want to say, I hope I see everyone here the 17th. And also this weekend, this is a little off the radar here, but there's going to be a cleanup for Tortoise Island over JT at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. So if you're about, they could use some help over there. You know, we have our booth over there, and Kathleen and crew are over there. It's always a good weekend to come and say hello and get
I'll
some
have
information.
ice water for you.
Ice water, there you go.
Good Joshua Basin water.
That's all.
Thank you. Director Hunt.
I, commenting on attending the Mojave Water Agency meetings I've attended to so far, and it may have been the meetings I attended, but there weren't that many other water district board members in attendance in the audience, so that does give us an opportunity to be very visible and to network, and I think it is well worth it that at least one of us attends each one of those meetings, and they obviously could be have been and can continue to be a great support to us. As I usually do before these meetings, I check the drought monitor site, and 24% of the state is still in some form of drought, drier than normal to severe drought, and poor Imperial County down near the border with Mexico is still in severe drought, a portion of the county. So they use a number of different metrics in making those designations, including, deficits because of the extended drought that we had. But I think it and as President Luckman has said more than once, we're always essentially in a drought here because we live in the desert. But I think it's important to look at California's water and our water in that context and not become complacent when we have a rip-roaring year up in the Sierra Nevada.
Thank you. Okay, and Kathleen talked about the tour. I got a call from an old friend that I haven't seen in a long time, raving. She and her husband were on the tour raving about how wonderful it was. And he used to be very connected. I don't know, Bob Jorgensen, was he ever on the board? I'll have to ask when Susan comes back. He's been on a lot of boards, so he's been very well connected. Anyway, it was very nice to hear from her and hear how wonderful she thought the tour was. I have kind of toyed with inviting Chad Mays to come and talk about the Little Hoover Commission. Is that a good idea or a bad idea?
You have to ask Chad about that.
No,
I think it'd be better for
I
us.
understand that.
Yeah. I think it'd be a great
Because
idea.
Great idea.
Well, I
Chad's
think
on
it'd
it.
be an interesting evening.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a very interesting evening, so we'll see if that'll work out. I think that Kurt has his contact information for his staff. And other than that, I will be going to Mojave tomorrow and then the TAC meeting, so I don't have anything other than that. Do I have a motion for adjournment? Oh,
If I could, one more thing. I just wanted to mention to Kathleen that I think those tours are a great thing as well, and I hope you're able to find money to continue them. I
Yeah.
can't think of a better way to inform the community about the water district and what it does and what it takes to to run a district and provide water at the tap. So thank you for your continued
The comments
effort.
come back,
Well,
people do rave.
Kurt he steps up there and he's approachable, which most people think he's in this big glass vault, you know. He gets on the bus and he's a target, and he lets people ask whatever they want to ask, and it's very comfortable.
Yep.
You know, the bullet glass is gone, and you feel like there's no pretense. That's what I'm hearing from them, you know, so it is. It's a great communication tool, and it brings people in to their own water districts, not them versus us. you know.
Amen.
Al, have you been on the tour?
Pardon me?
Have you been on the tour?
This one.
Okay, cool. All
Okay.
right.
Very informative.
With that, do I have a motion for adjournment? Is there anything else before that? Seeing none, is there a motion for adjournment?
I move we adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
We're out of here. Thank you very, very much for attending.